Jovita Neliupsiene, European Union Ambassador to the United States. Thank you so much and welcome back to Ion Politics.
Hello.
So you are back in Texas. What brings you back to the Lone Star State?
Well, it's the place to be because here in Austin we have South by Southwest. So all the tech companies, all the pop art, everything, everybody is here. And in a couple of days, I'm heading to Houston for the CERA week, where all the energy people are there. So Texas is the place to be for the EU because EU is really the biggest trading partner for you guys.
And so what exactly, what is your goal there? Are you looking to, last time we spoke, we talked a lot about energy, liquefied natural gas sales, exports to the European Union. How are you feeling at this moment as far as, because what we are seeing now is a lot of talk about tariffs. And so I'm wondering, how does your trip there and the idea of buying more liquefied natural gas from the US fit into all this?
Well, of course, it's not only about gas. As I mentioned, EU-US trade more than 1.7 trillion, with Texas being the biggest trading partner within the US. It's still very important to talk about not only about liquefied gas, which we are still buying in the huge quantities, and we will continue because our commissioner for energy just announced that we will be phasing out to zero actually Russian liquefied natural gas, and so we will need even more. We already spend more than 70 billion on that, and we are the biggest client of Texas for LNG, and we will do even more in a couple of years, and a lot of export facilities coming online. So this is one topic. But in general, trade is huge and growing. Over the last 5 years, we have plus 30% of growth in the trading, not only in goods, which is, of course, the big part. You are exporting more than 300 billion from Texas to EU, but as well in services. Texas is up in arms, I have to say, to beat some other states in the financial services, digital services, and we have a huge deficit on our side actually, because we import much more of services than we export here. So this actually is one of the topics of conversation. This is a two-way street. We export more to Texas or to US, but we are importing more services from Texas and from US. So we are really on E, and we have to continue because this creates, like, let's take alone Texas, 300,000 jobs is created because of our trade and investments.
So what is your message to business leaders then? Because, the president is talking about reciprocal tariffs going into place on April 2nd. And so what are you telling business leaders here in Texas?
Well, tariffs is not really the most preferential policy for the European Union. We really believe that because of our trade, we benefited for over last 60 years, if you wish. And we actually, our economies on both sides of the Atlantic grew over the years quite exponentially. And I think that every business has a success story to tell how they benefited because of their cooperation with Europe. Let us take an example. For example, Microsoft, 40% of their turnover is actually generated in Europe. So there is a huge opportunities on both sides of Atlantic. And if we take, for example, just the number of jobs, because of the foreign direct investments coming from Europe to US, but as well because of the trade, we generate like almost 16 million jobs on both sides of Atlantic. 10 of them are generated here. So we employ 10 million people because of trade and investment going, like back and forth. I think that this is the main message. We have to continue. If there are some grievances, if there are some problems, we're ready here to negotiate. But I think that we should start from talks, not from tariffs.
And is that going to happen?
Well, I hope so. We put all our efforts in that.
And have you had conversations with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and our Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick?
Well, we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a first really very in-depth conversation with Secretary of Commerce Lutnick and as well of your USTR, the trade representative, Jameson Greer. And I think that it was very successful. We really tried to find where are those issues we want to solve and where we can, and how we can move forward. So we are looking to continue those conversations before their April 2nd.
And besides, I know we talked a little bit about gas, liquefied natural gas. What other exports to the European Union come from Texas? Are we talking about military aircraft, military parts?
Yes, of course. So defense industry is really big, which comes from Texas to Europe. So it's and if you look at the map, which of the 27 member states are buying in Texas, you probably would not find a single one which would not do that. 60 more than 60% or 62%. We actually what we spend on defense, we spend in US, and big part of that is actually stays here in Texas. As well, you know, your semiconductor industry is growing, and we are very much linked to that. Your air and space industry is very much connected to ours, and we're like part of the global supply chains here. And you know, I can go through all the different biotech. Biotech is booming in Texas, and you know, in Europe we have a very strong biotech sector. And just yesterday in the morning, I was visiting one of the new research facilities here in Austin, and they are very keen to invite as many startups from Europe to contribute to Austin's economy in particular.
And my last question to you is, and I know we talked a little bit about it several months ago when you were in Fort Worth, and that's just about Ukraine. How confident are you that there will be an agreement between Ukraine and Russia, the United States, the European Union, to end the war and the fighting and the killing, et cetera?
Well, you know, I think that you would not find a nation other than Ukraine who would wish the war to end as soon as possible, because they are victims. They were attacked by Russia, and Russia is an aggressor, and the war lasts already for 3 years. But what we have not to forget, that Russia already once attacked Ukraine back in 2014. And then when we managed to find a deal and ceasefire at that moment, we actually didn't manage to find a sustainable solution to prevent or to deter Russia from attack again. So whatever decisions we are taking right now, we have to be very careful and very mindful that is not only just a peace, but a just and lasting and sustainable peace solution, that Russia will not again just rearm or regroup and attack again Ukraine or any other neighboring countries. Because, you know, I'm coming from the small country myself, and European Union is in general union of the relatively small countries. And, you know, for us, must not be right. It's that everybody has to have a right to their democratic choice, to the regime they want to choose. They have to have a freedom of speech. They have to have their right of democracy. And Ukraine has chosen to live as a free and democratic country, and we have to respect their territorial integrity and their sovereignty. And I think this should be their starting point. If Russia wants to end the war, they can start. They actually have to start from stopping bombing civilian residential areas, which they have been doing for the last 3 days and 3 nights, actually.
Are you more confident that this, whatever agreement, that the negotiations, discussions, et cetera, are toward a more lasting peace, something that will actually deter Russia from doing this again, even if there is an agreement for a ceasefire?
Well, I hope so. I really put a lot of hope that our leaders and the leaders of United States really are moving to direction to make sure that we have a sustainable peace. But everyone has to be involved in the negotiations. Ukrainians should be part of that. Europeans should be part of that, because we're hearing that we have to pick a really bigger responsibility in ensuring this lasting peace. So we have to be part of the negotiations as well.
And the European Union is committed to doing that?
Well, yes, of course. And we are already doing. We actually spend 145 billion already for support of Ukraine. 55 of that is actually support just for the defense. We are hosting 4 million of Ukrainian refugees in European. So Ukrainian economy and financial system is there and growing even during the war because of the European support. So we are doing at most what we can. And last week we just announced 800 billion package to boost our defense industry and defense capabilities, to make sure that we actually can really literally step up defending ourselves and possibility to help for Ukraine.
Do you think that there should be more economic sanctions placed on Russia to force them to the table?
Well, as the European Union, just a week ago, we already issued new sanctions on Russia and some of the companies coming from other countries, which actually help to avoid Russian sanctions. I think that's the right way to do, because we have to stop feeding the Russian war machine. That's the aim of the sanctions.
Jovita Neliupsiene, European Union Ambassador to the United States. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.